Hello and welcome to Understanding the Concepts of ZapScale. At ZapScale, we want to make customer success easy. Now, we understand that the cornerstone of good customer success is reduced churn, retaining more customers, and increasing your upsells. But to reach there, we need exceptional insights into your customers and your users. Let us look at a typical business. A typical business would look like this, that it would have multiple customers, and in each customer there would be multiple users. Now if we deep dive into one particular customer, we would see that there are multiple ways that this customer interacts with your business. Primarily, the users of the customer would be using your product, your SaaS application, and would be deriving outcomes from your product. Outcomes are steps which adds up to your users and your customers deriving value from your product. Other than that, your customers would also be talking to your peripheral applications, your third-party applications like ticketing through a fresh desk or Jira. They would be writing emails to you. They would be making payments over an app like a Chargebee or a Stripe. They would also be requesting features from you in, again, an app like Jira or Freshdesk. Apart from that, the customer would have an upsell possibility. And since your CS team is constantly in touch with your customers, they would have a human intelligence or a gut feel, and everything put together would determine the health of this customer. So we at ZapScale have divided all these into 40 plus KPIs, which are pre-built, which starts acting on each of your customers and your users from day one and gives you your customers' comprehensive health score. Now, to do this, let us start with your SaaS app, your product, which your users are using and deriving outcomes from every day. To track this, ZapScale will give you 2 lines of tracking code, which you can just put it in your front end of your application. And we would be able to navigate each customer and each user as they use your product and as they derive outcomes. So let us look at each one of them one by one. For usage, each user would be scored on the basis of how much time they're spending on the product, how many pages they're visiting, what is the percentage of features that they're using, and what is the coverage of the product. Each user would have each of these KPIs scored and color coded, which would combine to give you one user's health score. And all the users' health scores combined would give you your customer score of usage of your SaaS application. Similarly, if we talk about outcomes, outcome KPIs are something which you can define for your product. If your product was something like Zoom or a Google Meet or online meetings, your outcomes would look typically like your users should at least log in 10 times in a week, should at least set 5 meetings. While setting up a meeting, it should not take them more than 90 seconds. So each of your user would then be again scored and color coded on each of these KPIs. Together, it would give you one user score. All your user scores combined together would give you your customer's outcome score. So now with your usage and outcome sorted, you have your product part sorted. So you know how your customers are using your product, how they are deriving outcomes, and how each of their users are faring with respect to their health. Now, putting it back to the whole picture, let us next look at your peripheral applications or your third-party apps. Let us say for ticketing, email, payment subscription, feature request, we have a very, very simple plug and play integration. In a couple of clicks, you can get the applications integrated with ZapScale, and the KPIs would start getting in action and populating the score for each of these peripheral apps. Like for ticketing, for this particular customer, you see that they are logging tickets very frequently, and a lot of their tickets are priority 1 tickets, high priority tickets. But the resolution rate of the tickets are good, and a small percentage of the user from the customer is logging tickets. So overall, the ticketing score of this customer is okay. It's an amber. Email score is doing very good because you're in constant communication with the customer, and it has not been very long since you made your last contact. Your payment score is also good because your customer is paying you on time, they're paying you in full, a very small percentage of overdue payments. But when we come to feature requests for this particular customer, we see that they are actually requesting features very frequently. And a lot of the features that they're requesting for are critical for their business. and the delivery rate for the features for this particular customer has not been great. So overall, if the customer has to judge your business on the basis of their feature requests, they would not be very, very happy. That is why it's in red. So all these peripheral apps put together gives you your peripheral app score, which is doing okay in amber. Now, your upsell possibility would be derived from, let us say you have given out 100 user licenses to this particular customer. They have only reached 50% of it, but they're growing at a rate of 60%, which means in the next 2 months, they would be ready for upselling. Now, when they are ready for upselling, you would also need to ensure that your users, who are basically decision makers and influencers for this particular customer account, are happy with the product usage, are happy with the outcomes that they're deriving. So overall, they're in good health. So all of this combined together tells you your customer's upsell possibility. For this particular customer, it's not very good because they have not reached the user limit. Also, the decision makers and the influencers are not in very, very good shape or health. So the last part of the entire picture is your CS team's hand feel, gut feel, their intelligence on the basis of their interaction with the customer on a regular basis. They would be putting in the score on a monthly basis. So all of these put together, you would have your customer's health score. And this is one customer's health score. If we zoom out to look at your business would look like this, where you have multiple customers. Each customer would be at a different health state and health score with a different color coding, and all your customers' healths would combine to give you your business health score. Now, this is the same view that you get in the ZapScale product, which is this. Here on the left, you have the list of all your customers. Mahindra Logistics is one of the customers whose ARR is $12,000 and the renewal is due in 17 days. You see right beside Mahindra Logistics is the entire health score of this particular customer, Mahindra Logistics, which we call the Zap score. The Zap score, or the health score of a customer, is made up of their software usage, the outcomes that they're deriving, how they are interacting with your ticketing, feature requests, emails, payments, applications, their upsell possibility, and your CS team's feed. Now, you can basically, each of these scores are populated on a daily basis. You can look at it at a yearly, quarterly, monthly, or weekly basis. From here, you can also see that under each customer, you see the health profile of the users. Particularly for Mahindra Logistics, 27% of the users are doing good, 45% are okay, and 23% are in bad health. And 6% of the users are inactive on your product at this point of time. So from this customer list, you can either deep dive into understanding the KPIs in details, or you can even just want to deep dive into the list of users within a customer. You can deep dive there, look at their scores and the KPIs which are making up their scores. Or you can just go inside a customer, look at the health trend of the users overall month on month. You can see that how your users have moved from healthy to unhealthy, unhealthy to healthy between the last 2 months. Or you can also go ahead and check out each of the health KPIs under usage, outcome, peripheral, upsell, and CS and field. You can deep dive into any KPI, like you want to check for a particular customer, what is their page visit score day by day. You can look at it. For your outcomes, you can as I mentioned, you can set any outcome for your business. If we are talking about, let us say, a tool which is used for setting up online meetings, and if an outcome is set that a customer has to set at least 50 meetings in a month, then you would also get a clear understanding of what are the steps which are required to reach this outcome. For example, you need to put in a meeting name, a duration, a location, and then save meeting. You see that if an outcome is not reached, then what is the space where a user is taking the most time and where the drop off is happening from. So you can drill down to the details at each of these places, and you can see that how each customer is faring with respect to each of these 40 KPIs. So these 40 KPIs are pre-built. The day you get integrated, the day we start, you get this complete picture of all your customers, their health, their individual KPIs, their users' health, and so on. Now, one interesting part which we have tried to solve in ZapScale is that the organization-wide customer centricity. If a problem arises for a customer, let us say with their software usage, or let us say feature requests, or certain other things, in many times the customer success team does not have a direct handle in solving these problems. They would need to collaborate with, let us say, the product team, the training team, and so on. So in ZapScale, wherever you see a score, you have an option to create a task, message, and action. So primarily, all your teams are welcome to ZapScale. Your finance team, your product team, your training team, your sales team. Wherever you see that there is a problem and you want to discuss as a team, you can create a message. The message would have the entire context of the problem. Who is the customer being spoken about? When is the renewal due? What is the score which is in problem? And you can add as many users from different teams so that everyone can look at the problem from a single perspective and solve it together. You can also create a task for the primary responsible account executive or customer success personnel so that again they can look at what exactly is the problem and they can solve for it. A CSM can even go ahead and set actions that, I saw this problem and I have spoken to this customer. These are the resolution steps discussed. Now, you might be thinking that, with 40 plus KPIs, there are so many scores being generated. Would I have to go ahead and create tasks, messages anytime a score is not doing good for a particular customer or a user? No. So for that, what we have created is playbooks, which looks like this. So this is your dashboard. This is your overall business Zap score. You see Zap score or any score, any KPI score that you have in ZapScale comes with a health range, comes with a weightage, and comes with an exception handling playbook, which basically defines that if the health of this particular KPI goes to the red section, which is the unhealthy section, what needs to be done? Each playbook comes with these particular steps, which is when is this score being checked? Most of the scores would be checked every day. What are the conditions? Let us say your customer's health score is red for one day. What will happen? A task would be created for the particular CSM who's looking after this customer, along with resolution steps. An email would be sent out to the same CSM so that he does not miss out on this task. And at the same point of time, a message would be created between multiple departments who could solve this problem for this particular customer. So we have 50 plus playbooks defined and pre-built into ZapScale already. Now, with 40 plus KPIs, 50 plus playbooks in play, tasks and messages being created, your customer success managers need one single place where they can do their day-to-day job, which is the Zap book or the Facebook, let's say, for your customer success managers, where you see that this is the Zap book for Robert, who is a CSM. He's handling a total revenue of $25 million from 45 customers. These are the health status of the 45 customers. These 45 customers have 789 users. This is the health status of the users. And here you have all the tasks which are on high priority for Robert. So all Robert needs to do is, come to ZapScale, come to this screen, and he would have a complete understanding of what are the things that he needs to do for certain customers. Like this is a task created, which is called Nike, because the usage score of this particular customer is low. And this is created by Courtney, who's the head of customer success. So a task or a message can be created by a person, your manager. It can be also auto-created by ZapScale through the playbooks. And your CSMs would have a complete handle of their immediate tasks, messages, actions in their Zap book. On top of that, they can also go to the performance and see how they are actually performing. The performance is a combination of the health of the customers that this particular CSM is looking at, the total ARR, the net retention, the net dollar retention, how much churn is coming from the customers under the purview of the CSM, the health of the users, and so on. And at any point of time, a particular CSM, if they want, they can basically compare their performance against the overall average of your company or even individual CSMs. So overall, ZapScale basically comes with 40 plus out of the box health KPIs, which otherwise takes months and weeks for you to configure to determine the health score of a customer. It comes with 50 plus out of the box playbooks, which basically has exception handling for each and every KPI score when they go into an unhealthy section, along with resolution steps, automatically creates tasks, messages, emails for the people responsible. Overall, because of these 40 plus KPIs, 50 plus playbooks, out of the box integrations with your peripheral apps, ZapScale takes just 1 day to onboard and get started. And from day 2, you will get a complete picture of each of your customers' health. And we welcome all departments into ZapScale, everyone who is related to your customers, which is basically your finance, sales, marketing, customer success, training, implementation, all teams, so that everyone can have this one single glass pane view of your customer.